Hey, welcome to the Keystone Experience. Rob Warwick,
And Matt Pitzer.
brought to you by Creek Archery. Find your passion and hunt it down.
And Hillview Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Remember, Hillview has it in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What's going on, everybody? We got special guests with us tonight. Two-time Josie Award-winning country artist, Randy Davis.
How we doing? I'll accept Randy only from you, Rob.
Andy Davis, what's going on, brother?
I'm happy to be here tonight. It's Fishmas Eve in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's miserable outside, par for the course this year, right?
Typical Friday before opening day.
Yeah, tomorrow is opening day of trout season, and yeah, it's not looking great. The weather's not what any of us were hoping for. Personally, as a guide, I've been dealing with this all year. It's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. You getting a good day, you getting a rainy day, and there's no in between. It's not shocking right now.
Yeah. So let's talk some music first, and then we'll do some fishing.
Yeah.
So what's going on this year? What's good? What's happening in the music scene?
Well, like you said with the Josies, the last 2 years I've been able to accomplish some really cool things. Last year being definitely the cooler of the two in my opinion. I won Josie Music Entertainer of the Year. I got to walk my then 8-month-old daughter on stage with me at the Grand Ole Opry, and I can't even explain that feeling.
Right.
Other than definitely wanting to be back on that stage. I think if there was ever a fire lit, that was the moment in time where I was like, okay, this could get even cooler. And that's kind of led me to try to really make this year, even more special and bigger. And I guess it's harder because, you unintentionally put yourself under the gun, really. You're trying to figure out what people want, trying to figure out what could be better than that, and it has led to a new album coming in May, and this will be 3 years since we put out an album. There was a lot of back and forth, I guess, about should we just do singles or should we do an album, and my style has always been albums. I think it's cooler to put out more songs, well, some people now are putting out 36 songs, like double. I'm like, gosh, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Just to be able to do another album and really, I think I've grown a lot as a writer. I got a better team around me too with the recording and different ears on things now. It's really leading to some really cool songs, and I'm so excited to be able to do this. And we've picked, and I don't know if your listeners are familiar, and if you're not, check it out. Look it up on social media. We've been doing a show since 2020 called Farm Show, and this is where we're choosing to be able to do this release this year. So last time we did an album release, it was at a drive-in.
Yeah.
As much as I want to try to forget that was also not like, was it not one of the coolest shows you guys were there?
It was fun.
It was insane.
It was fun.
So how do you top it?
It was fun until it was over. Then you had to clean all that shit up.
It was definitely a lot of work, and I've been trying to have that moment again since it happened, and to be able to do another release party and really be able to do it in a place that it means a lot to me, at a show that we've built into something that I think people think is really special. I think it's a good way to start this year. And I know there's some big things in the works for this year. I'm not going to share them just yet because I don't want to jinx myself on anything. But, it's lining up to be a pretty solid year with music. And I'm just excited, honestly, for everybody to hear some of the new music,
What's the date for Farm Show?
It'll be May 20th, and that's going to be at Hillside Orchards.
Goddamn right in the middle of turkey season.
There's nothing I can do about that. You can hunt maybe there if you're working out with Pav in the morning, and then kind of just go, right up the hill.
I'll be there.
It's going to be super cool. If you want, jump on social media. I'm sure you can track it down. I'm sure Rob's going to have it out. Matt, I hopefully will share it too. Where you guys can come and if you're country music fans, I promise this is not one you're going to want to miss at all.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Definitely, I would say an intimate setting.
Hey, Matt, good to hear from you over there.
Look, when I got two guys that like to talk, I just sit over here and monitor.
Well, see, there was one point in time where I used to get paid to talk.
I know.
And I do miss that. That was a really cool experience, too.
And you know how I can tell you get paid to talk? I had to turn your volumes down.
Yeah. I am known for overmodulation when it comes to microphones, so sorry. Don't mean to yell at anybody, but
no, you're good. Yeah, check out Farm Show. That is a really cool show. If you've never been there, you definitely want to check it out because you're not 100 feet away from people in attendance.
No.
You're like 10 feet.
And it is as close it's as close as I would like people to be to me while performing, if that makes sense. Not just because I'll be out with anyone, I don't care, but all the equipment and stuff, you got to watch because you never know nowadays. But
somebody's had one too many beverages, and before you know it,
and Farm Show has been known to have that, But we party. It is a party at a farm. It is what you would. Man, when you think country music, do you really think stadium shows?
Nope.
I don't.
I think exactly what Farm Show is: out in the middle of the country, bonfires going, beer flowing, music rolling.
Absolutely, and
you got a good country store right there too. You get there early enough, you can go in and take care of the boys.
Yeah, and it's one of our
that's
friends.
In there is quality stuff. I get pissed off because I don't always get over there to get chocolate milk, and then when I do get there, he don't have any.
Milk is like the fastest selling thing in that store.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Everything's good over there. Get there early, stop and see them guys, and then come enjoy the show.
He's got lettuce planted already right now. I don't know if you, Rob, I don't think you have this. He hasn't had it in a couple years, so.
The hydroponic shit.
No, this is actually in the field.
Oh, okay.
The greenhouse stuff hasn't started yet, but oh my God, you have no idea. It's the greatest. Normally I don't eat food that my food eats, but if I'm eating lettuce, it's got to be good. I'm excited. I'm waiting for it. And hopefully maybe by Farm Show, some of it's ready so I can have a good meal that morning. We've had, some really good food over the last couple years for the crew for Farm Show, and I never ate any of it.
Yeah.
Never, not one time. I'm like, everybody else get fed. Good for you guys. Yeah. So I'm excited to be able to do Farm Show again and do it on hopefully a little bit bigger scale. We've kind of been chasing this, maybe it was unrealistic. Nothing to me is unrealistic. At least when it first comes into my mind. We've been trying the last 2 years to get, I think this is the 4th annual Farm Show. So it had been the last 2 years we've been trying to get a national act to headline. And we've, truth be told, I've tried working with a couple different promoters, and none of it's happened. Not for any lack of effort on my team's end. And it's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you. There's moments where I've had words with people. I'm like, man, if this is your job, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
And I don't know if people just don't, as country people, as country folk, I guess some of us don't get taken seriously when it comes to money and finance. It ain't about the money. The drive-in show costs more money than I've ever had personally in my life. And I was able to talk to the right people and raise that money. Thankfully, there's great people in our community that were also willing to give back. We gave back a lot of money to first responders after that show. And there's always a way to make something work. So the fact that I felt like nobody wanted to work with us because they didn't see the idea, because there wasn't the infrastructure that they wanted. Man, you know what? Kiss my ass with the infrastructure, okay? If you got a bunch of country folk that want to put on a show, it will happen, and it will meet all your stipulations and your riders and requirements, whatever it is, So I don't know a better way to try to make it better on my own other than do it as an album release.
you know me, I'm not into the new, Brantley Gilbert's about as
Modern.
far as my country music goes. I listen to the Lax, Jelly Roll, Upchurch. These are guys that don't get no national promotion,
Yeah.
They've done it on their own. There ain't no reason why you can't. And I mean, you've gone far in the time I've been around you.
I've tried to really, and like the problem is like between me and everybody listening and you guys, like Pennsylvania kills dreams, man. If you grew up here, this place sucks.
What do you mean? I knocked up my old lady when we were teenagers. I got my first Harley.
let me rephrase this. Let me find
what more can you ask for? I mean, that's the perfect country boy dream.
Let me find
I got a
better way to put
30-06 and a Dodge truck and 2 Harleys. What the hell else can you want?
If you want to be a effective musician that is heard by a lot of people, and which I would like to be, because I got stories to tell, and they're stories that I think have not only proven that they can help people. I mean, the list of people that have walked up to me or that I now know personally and call friends that my music has helped through something. I'm like, man, can we help more? We could if we could get exposure, but I'm not playing the label game, man. I'm not. And I've turned down, I think we're on 6 record deals now in the last 2 years that I've turned down. And I'm proud to say that I turned them down, because nobody's going to take my team, my family, or myself for a ride. And you're not going to profit every single dollar you can off of what I'm doing and not show the same, gratitude or respect towards the people that are actually making it happen. And the reason I say Pennsylvania has killed it hasn't killed my dream. I've been clawing tooth and nail to be able to keep going forward. But to say that really means that to really know the right people, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's music, whether it's, TV or something. I can only relate to music, but I know a lot of people that had huge dreams, even just being an entrepreneur, right? You can't do that. Mm-hmm. I started my guide service, some of the closest people to me. That's never going to work. Oh, no, it's not only working. it's doing great things. And I guess if you have dedication, it doesn't kill your dream. But if you're somebody that just like, man, I really wish I could do this, this is not the place for you. And it's hard to get people to believe in you. And I'm sure at one point or another, both of you have had somebody somewhere along the line go, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. Like, everyone doubts you. What the hell is that about?
We're on season 4 of Doubt.
Oh, there you go. Yep. Nobody believes that anything's going to be possible. It's never going to work. You need to get a job. How many times I've heard let's just say the last 2 months, this month, you need to get a job. Why do I need to get a job? I am my job. I'm my job. If you don't like that, I'm sorry.
I mean, think about it. You're selling yourself. You're a musician. You're selling yourself.
When I got into the fishing industry, for the second time, because I was a guide when I was younger.
Wait. I was a guide when I was younger.
Yeah, I worked
You're not that old.
I worked for a company for a couple summers, so I could be able to afford my snowboarding addiction that I had.
Okay.
And
I needed some context on that, because when you say I've done that before,
I wasn't. So yes, technically I was a guide, but I wasn't really a guide. Like, I wasn't doing what I'm doing now. And I said then, I'm like, man, if I ever actually took this serious and did it again, I'm doing it my way. Well, you hit 30, your brain starts doing different things, right? Then at a newborn, I'm like, I got to make some money. It has to happen. And the only thing I truly know that I do well is talk and be able to share information with people. And then the thing that I'm most passionate about, I think, in life is fishing. Next to music, of course, but you can't
teach people how to sing. They got to have some talent.
You can't. Yeah. Okay. That's a good way to put it.
You can teach people how to fish.
You can teach people how to sing, but it doesn't mean that they can actually do it.
Yeah.
Just because you know how to sing does not mean that you actually
know how to sing.
No. Yeah. But it don't mean
shit
when it comes to
sounds like 2 dogs screwing out in the middle of the woods, but
you enjoy it.
Hey, It's all that matters. I'm happy.
And I feel bad for people. Like there are people that I've met in this walk of music that are like really, really trying. And somebody should have told them at some point in their career that, hey man, maybe like you should do something that is involved in the music industry, but this isn't it. Because unless you're living, what I've been living and what my wife has lived with me for the last couple of years, and how many times it's almost broken us, how many times it's almost broken us, me financially, how many times it's had like its super low moments. Everybody sees the good stuff on social media, right? I've been trying to do more of not just showing just the good stuff. And, I kind of had to take a little step back with the baby and everything, but everybody gets to this point where they think they're like gonna make it, and I'm like, oh boy. Somebody should have told you a long time ago that you don't. I'm not the best vocalist on the planet at all. I'm just telling stories, and I'm the hype man. I've always tried to be the hype man. If you come to a show, it's 100 miles an hour.
Dude, I've got to see David Allan Coe when he was younger, and got to see David Allan Coe with you when he had to be walked up on the stage and sat in a chair.
That was
that man could never sing from day one.
But he told stories, and
Willie Nelson can't sing worth of shit.
He can smoke worth of shit.
But they have made a living out of telling stories with a guitar.
And that's country.
That's what country music is about, not this shit that Miss Swift is doing.
There's
and
probably
all these other clowns that are on the radio.
There's probably 400 or 500 more episodes of a podcast that we could do on just breaking down what is country music and what isn't. And you know what? There's a new argument that's like, how do you say what's country? Well, here was country. Here's whatever it is that's going on now. And then there's like the new people that are like Cody Jinks and Cody Johnson and Tyler Childers that are telling stories. Doesn't mean they're most, the best vocalists. No. Cody Johnson is by a long shot. Man, my man can sing. I'm not saying Tyler and, other Cody can't. They are definitely very talented, but they're not Adele. You know what I mean? Like they're not like, oh my gosh, you're blown away by every single word or note that comes out of their mouth. They're telling you stories, and they found their way of telling it so compellingly that you can't shut it off. And you're like, oh my God, I understand every single word of the song.
Yep.
But nobody, like, those aren't the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people that are like, really out there grinding, and they don't have it. Mm-hmm. And again, back to like, you should always chase your dreams, even if you're from this shithole state. You should always go after whatever it is your heart desires. But if you're going to put 115% about it, you better check at least a couple boxes, like the major ones that would get in your way of doing that, I would say. And I mean, with the Josies, I have met so many talented and stupid talented people, like just blow your mind talented. Then they don't have something that, and I'm thinking, well, I'm in this room, I have the same. There's something I don't have too. And the Josies have done such a cool thing because they're giving, independent artists an avenue. They're giving us an opportunity to showcase what we have done. And they're the only people at least doing it on the level they are. And I'm like, man, every single person in this room could be somebody tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And we're all sitting here in the same struggle, but nobody was given nobody gave them any leeway towards anything, because probably like me, they don't have money backing them or like something. Everybody that really truly gets a shot has money behind them. When it comes to the Nashville circuit, like Tyler and like those type of country guys, they've made it on their own because they're that damn good or they're that damn effective.
Yeah.
They don't need a big financial backer, but they've found their way somehow because they've got exposure, and exposure cannot be just, it's not luck. It's money. It takes money. Just anything you do in this world, I think that's worth something has to have financial backing, or it can't get off the ground, unless you're like, like the old school mom and pop stores where You know, grandma was in there just grinding, making cookies for 17 hours a day. And then, you know, she'd lay down for a half hour and wake up and make, you know, the bread. And they made sure the papers were on the shelves in the morning. Like, that's different. You know, there's like a product there, I guess you'd say. Mm-hmm. Like, they're building something that takes newspapers, cans of corn, milk, like to have a storefront where when you're trying to sell yourself and a product you've created in a world that is completely social media driven, you can't get out there if they don't want you to get out there, A. B, you can't get out there unless you pay to get out there. Now, if you start paying, then somebody goes, oh, look, we have somebody with money. Mm-hmm. What does the person with money have? Then you better have a damn solid business plan of what you've done over the last 10 years, how much you sold, how many records you sold, number of tickets, what you're following, all that. And it's all backed by money.
Yep.
So it sucks. And I forget exactly where I was going with that because I got sidetracked on the finance thing, but when people tell you you can't do something, if you want to, you sure can.
Prove them wrong and do it.
If you want to, you sure can. And there's no reason that anybody has the right to tell you that. But I can tell you that if I was anywhere but this state growing up, I'd probably have a better chance at being, you know, further down the road with music than what I am. It's just pigeonholed me. And it's done it to a lot of other people. You know I have a lot of friends that are super freaking talented, not even when it comes to music, just talented at what they do, at their niche. They can't make it here. Mm-hmm. So they move. That's why everyone moves. They're like, oh, well, I'm getting out of here.
Yep.
I should have probably moved to Nashville a long time ago. Maybe would have had a better chance, but wouldn't have met my wife, wouldn't have been through what I've been through to make me who I am.
And you wouldn't have Steelhead.
And I sure would not have Steelhead. If I didn't have Steelhead, I'd be a more miserable person.
You got to have that. I mean, that's the new thing for you.
Yeah, it has become not just a thing for me either. It is. I'm completely consumed by it. Like, I have music and I have fish in my family, and that's it at the end of the day. I have never met something that I've become. Now, I knew this was going to happen. Like, truth be told, I ignored steelhead fishing for quite some time. And do you want to go here right now? Because this is a whole nother avenue. Was there other music stuff? Because we can touch on that.
We're good on the music.
Okay.
We'll just keep everybody up to date on what's coming up. That's all.
That's the thing. If you want to find out more music, you got to follow you on the social medias.
Yes, and you just look up Andy Davis, and I'm the one with the beard. There's another Andy Davis that pops up on some things, including iTunes. He's not me, no. And within about 13 seconds of you hearing him speak, talk, or sing, you will know that he is not me. Not saying he's not good. He is. He's got some good music. I've actually listened to it, but he's definitely not me.
No.
So if we're going to go to the fishing world, I ignored Steelhead for a long time. And I was always a trout guy. I cannot. The only time I've fished a lake in the last 10 years was with Rob. And maybe a time or two at like a club or something. Like, we've went night fishing and like, that's cool.
For carp and catfish, yeah.
We both fished a lake one night, so maybe you can kind of include that. Mm-hmm. But I'm a moving water type of person. And I have like the worst ADD. Like, I can't focus. Like, if it loses my interest, I'm gone. Moving water will always intrigue me, and it keeps you busy. Like, you got to move, you got to cast, you got to move, you got to cast, you got to keep doing something that is going to continue. It's progress every single time you do it, right?
Yeah.
So, steelhead are up there. As a kid, you hear about it. As an adult, you hear about it. It's heard about living here in PA. Everybody's going steelhead fishing.
We're heading north.
You want to go catch the big fish, you got to go north. I'm like, yeah, that's going to cost me a lot of money. I knew it was going to, because I knew my personality being as addictive as it is, I can't just shut something off if I like it. And I've been addicted to big trout since I was able to fish. And like, the coolest story is probably telling you how I learned how to fish. But before I would tell that story.
He was raised by a wild pack of emus.
No.
In Mount Pleasant.
Which, that would be great. I was raised by fish on the Youghiogheny River. No, I can tell that story in a minute if you want. Knowing that like it was going to probably consume me, I ignored it, and then finally I didn't. And, you know, like I said, as I was getting older, I really had to find something that was going to work. And that's been my mindset for the last probably 5 years. I'm like, I got to find something or I'm going to have to find another way. I have been blessed in music, and I have been extremely blessed in a very quick, very short time frame in fishing to have the backing of some of the biggest brands in the industry. I have met some of the coolest people, some of the most intelligent people that I've ever met too. I'm completely consumed with Steelhead. And if you, and I know Rob hasn't, you haven't been there, right? You were going to make your first trip with me the other week. Have you been Steelhead fishing, man?
Nope.
It will, like, if you enjoy trout fishing even slightly, Steelhead fishing will completely change your life. Now, I always put a disclaimer on the front of this. Like, if you're going to go with me or if you're going to go yourself, make sure you have a little bit of a financial cushion before you do this, because when you get into this game, you got to get into the game. There's no middle ground for it really to be effective. And none of it's cheap. There's not part of it that I've found that is cheap.
But honestly, what hobby is?
No, well, yeah, what hobby is or what business to start is, right?
Yeah.
So, there's nothing that you would. Well, I mean, as you look around this room, everything your podcast has started from hunting, right? Look at the cameras you guys have into hunting. Look how many bins and totes of just gear you've had for hunting. Mm-hmm. How many different, guns, bows, everything that has. How much of that was a huge financial burden when you think about it?
Man, you're really trying to depress me right now.
But I'm not trying. I don't want to be. I'm telling you.
I'm just sitting here thinking, yep, there's that. Oh, wow, that's a lot. Yep, that's a lot.
Listen, man, I tell the truth. And
well, you know what?
Like, I've always tried to do that.
It's something that I love, so I wouldn't trade what I've spent, and I've spent a lot of money, like you said, between guns, bows,
out-of-state hunting tags,
and you add the cameras and stuff in. I mean, there's a substantial
and time.
amount of money.
Time, put a price tag on it.
But
I said that I wasn't buying nothing at all, and I just ordered freaking new microphones, and
it adds up quick. But it's worth every single second, every single dime.
Yeah,
when you truly love it. So I knew that with steelhead fishing, right? I knew I was going to be consumed, and it did not take long for that to happen. And as I realized that I had some very, very big names in the steelhead game tell me like, hey man, you're really good at this. And I'm like, okay, well, if these guys are saying that I'm good at it, then I must be at least decent at it, to the point that I could probably try to really think if I can make something out of it. And there's no point in having a whole shitload of knowledge if you don't share it with people. There's always, every single opportunity I get to learn something, I listen. And a lot of people, even when I was in radio, there was a guy called in one morning. He's like, "There's no way you've done all this at 24 years old." I'm like, "Yeah, I might surprise you."
Yeah.
I'm not talking about things from a like opinion standpoint. I'm telling you this because I did it, and I've done a lot in a very short life. I'm 32. At 32 years old, I've done a lot more things than most people will do in an entire lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I've been a sponge. I've tried to listen and learn and make my own way through things. And every time that I've done that, I've picked up on a different way to do something. Now, I did it with trout fishing. I did it with, there was a very brief period where I was in bass fishing. Luckily for the bass guys, I didn't go in that direction. Because
bass fishing, don't get me wrong, I like it. It's fun to go out there and chunk a big frog across a lake and, on top water and get this explosion.
I throw jabs at the bass guys all the time.
But
I just try to,
But that is a sport you need a $60,000 boat.
Minimum.
You need a $2,000 depth finder, fish finder. You need 30 different rods and reels.
That's what they think.
But
was that the?
That's what they think.
Was that the group that put all the lead in the
No,
fish.
that's the walleye
That's
guys.
the walleye
That's another. That's a whole different group of people.
Because I seen them on the news this week.
Oh yeah, they're being prosecuted for this stuff.
They're in trouble.
Yeah,
Big
they
time.
gotta turn the boat and everything back in.
You can't do that. Why do you go? First off, why are you cheating at fishing? Are you kidding me?
Hey,
I've been walleye fishing 3 times in my life. 2 of 3 were with a charter captain on Lake Erie. And I guarantee you, if I could get on a boat tomorrow, I could go out there and I'll find a way to catch a walleye.
Why do you cheat? Because we go back to the financial backing that's involved in that stuff.
But I think you cheat because you suck. Like, you actually can't do it.
It's the same reason we got poachers in the hunting industry, you know?
And don't get me wrong, like, there's probably people that are poachers because they literally don't have anything. No way to make any. And that's a different story. Do I agree with it? No.
There's a difference between a poacher
And
somebody in need.
yes. And I agree with that.
If you ain't got a job and you're starving to death, go out and shoot as many deer as you want to. I could give 2 shits less.
No one's going to say a thing about it.
But if you're going out there and shooting deer and cutting the heads off,
Now we got a problem.
now you're an asshole.
Yeah, we would have a problem.
And I'll turn you in. I'll turn my own mother in if she shoots a deer.
It's the same
And
way.
leave you lay there.
It's the same way with that's ridiculous. The guys that did this, you know, I shake my head like as a true trout steelhead loving human, where there's not a whole lot of
Oh,
competition.
you wait till we go steelhead fishing. I'm catching me a 42-pounder. I got them big catfish lunkers, sinkers. I'm jamming down his throat.
I don't want to. I was going to say, no, there's a way to do that, but just to tell you, Lake Erie fish aren't that big.
Oh, he's going to weigh that much. He might not look like it, but he's going to.
There's been walleye that have weighed more. The ridiculous and the absurd side of that to me is like I can't even have competition over with what I'm doing. Where when you go steelhead fishing, you'll see they're the hardest fish to catch. Period. That I've ever worked with.
Now, why is that?
Well, they're particular. They're tippet shy fish. Like they see. They do things. Steelhead are the only fish that you can literally pretty much bounce something in front of their face and they know, don't touch it. If you do that to a bass, per se, with a worm and a puddle as a 5-year-old, you're probably going to catch it, right? So now you can see maybe we'll have a little issue with the bass guys making all this money. I mean, is it really that hard? Because I was catching bass when I could, when I first figured out that I could pee, and control where it was going, I guess I should say. Like, that was about the time I figured out that I knew how to catch a bass. Steelhead not quite the same setup. Walleye, there's a shitload of them, like a shitload of them in the lakes.
Yeah, and that's another, that you got to know what you're doing with them things too, man.
I think that's more challenging than bass fishing, yes. And you're also in way deeper water most of the time. Like a lot of these guys are trolling and doing stuff like that. And I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know. Like I said, I've done it 3 times. I've accidentally caught walleye, so maybe I've done it more than 3 times if you want to call it. But bass fishing was over at 10, 11 years old. I was over that. When I figured out that steelhead fishing was going to be as intriguing to me as it is, then that's kind of when I started talking to these guys and some of the guys that I've been friends with, for a long time that have been steelhead fishing for a long time. I said, hey, what do you guys think about, you think it'd be okay if I started a guide service? And at first I was kind of like, am I going to get everyone going to attack me? Like, what's going to happen with this? Because fishing is ruthless. Then I knew that it didn't matter when one person said something to me. Do you know how ruthless the fishing industry is what this person said to me. And I went, did I mention I'm in the music business? Ruthless? Fishing? Nah, I said, so if that's what it's compared to in my mind, I'm like, I got this. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And I started coming up with these, a plan. I was like how I was going to do it. And the hardest part for me was to figure out what the name of the company was going to be. And I still really don't like the name, but it's good. It's hard that was hard. Like I can write a song and name the song and name a show. I can do that type of thing. But when you're putting a brand on a business that like you're hoping to hang your hat on at the end of life, that was a hard one. With Steelhead came a big education, I think, for me. They were not going to be the fish of 1,000 casts, which they've been called. That was not going to be that for me. I was like, I'm going to catch 1,000 fish in 800 casts. That's my goal. That's my goal every time I am fishing. I go out for numbers. That's what I want to do because every fish I connect with teaches me something that I can share with the client. And I have taken a lot of people out this year, and we've had a lot of success. I had one client that, man, I think I changed everything about his life. I think I changed like the trajectory of where he was going in life. I've had clients that were one of my repeat clients, and now pretty much friend. His name's Brian. He's like worked in higher education his entire life, and Brian's smart, man. I mean, he's worked with some really, really big, smart people in this world. And Brian ran into me one day. I was fishing, actually, with one of our buddies, Rico. I was fishing with Rico, and we were on Elk Creek and just doing our thing. And I think I had just hooked a fish and put it back. And Brian comes like walking out of the woods. He's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing that I'm not doing?" And I handed him a business card. I said, if you want to learn, I can teach you. We were there on a Sunday. I didn't plan on, we were going back home. And he goes, "Yeah, cool, man. What are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, "Well, I was going home tonight. And that's 2 hours in the other direction. But probably, I could probably figure out how to stay up here, be back up here tomorrow, and end up working it out and end up going out with Brian the next day." Well, what I didn't know at the time, Brian had called me. I told him to call me at 6 o'clock. I'd figure out what's going on. This was a Sunday. And I think it was a Sunday. It was definitely a Sunday. He calls me at 4. I'm like, man, this guy's pretty eager. He goes, "Hey, Andy, we good for tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're going to work it out, man." I said, "Just give me another, 2 hours. I'll be able to figure out exactly what I can do and what time I can be back up here. Is it cool if we use your equipment?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." I always offer the equipment. If you were to go and you didn't have it, I have it. The only thing I can't provide per my insurance is waders. Because if there's a hole in your waders and you go under,
yeah, that's on you.
I can't do that. I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, cool." Well, we're halfway through our day, and Brian has caught fish already. It took us about, I think, 6 or 7 drifts to get Brian on a fish, and he was happy as all get out and was like ready to catch fish. He understood what I was telling him. And then Brian tells me why he needed to use my equipment. Brian left right after I met him. He got in his car and forgot his rod on top of the car. So he literally was not fishing the next day if he didn't hire a guide. And he's been out with me so many times now that, he is one of my friends, and he is one of the best listening clients I've had. He wants to learn. He's went from fly fishing to center pinning. He will not touch a spinning rod. It's like voodoo to him. I tried to get him to do it last week just so I could teach him a different technique, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm not doing that." And it's crazy to be able to have these like relationships with these people. And sometimes you got good clients that listen. Sometimes you got clients that are like, I'm like, "Why'd you hire me?" They don't want to listen to you, and they think they know everything about fishing. And you show those people the same amount of respect. And at the same time, you scratch your head because you're like, well, if I was paying somebody, I want to learn what they're doing. And then I've started to kind of figure out too that like some people that have hired me have just hired me to fish with, like they just want to fish with somebody, and like that's cool. I mean, then I kind of feel bad charging somebody, but at the same time, business is business. You got to do what you got to do. The electric company does not care how many fish I caught this week or this month. It's been pretty cool so far. So I can only hope for more things to come. I'm excited to see where it's going to lead. The sky's the limit, though, I guess.
Yeah. So now tell me, I want to book with you. What are you going to do for me? How does this work? What can I expect when I book Andy Davis to take me fishing?
So what is your background in fishing? Like, have you stream fish, river fish?
Spinning reel, just streams for trout.
So you've used the spinning rod in a mountain stream or smaller, stream, and you've only went after trout. That's what you're telling me?
Yep.
Cool. So did you ever watch the Discovery Channel?
Nope.
You've never watched the Discovery Channel?
I mean, I have, but man, they're going for crabs, not steelhead.
Did you see the marlin they're catching?
No, just crabs.
You've never seen them catch a marlin on TV?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that was a bad reference. Tuna. Have you watched the tuna fish game?
Yes.
So you see how the tuna fight?
Yep.
So I would compare a steelhead fight to that against a trout. So is that something you're looking for? Like, you want to actually fight fish?
Yeah.
not to degrade the trout, but you want to. This is going to change everything you have thought about trout fishing and stream fishing. The only way to go bigger is to go to a salmon. And if that sounds like it's something you're interested in and you're willing to learn, then this will be one of the funnest days and experiences of your life. Now, the only thing I can't provide you, as I said, is waders. I can provide you with everything else. What is your basic knowledge of, what is your basic knowledge of casting? Like, just spinning,
Yep,
just spin fishing. That's it.
I can put the worm on the hook, and I can throw it in the water.
How efficient are you at throwing the worm in the water?
It depends how many trees are in my way.
So these are questions that I would have on a waiver, and it would kind of give me the ability to see what type of client I'll be going out with.
Yeah.
So each experience or each client, to answer your question, is personally catered to. I'm working on getting some different things for this coming season. Like, we're already working ahead on being able to maybe do some like stream side cooking for groups and be able to work with probably up to 6 people. I think I could do at a time for a full day trip and be able to take out businesses, like people that have clients coming in for banks or whatever it is, try to offer things to like a business trip, for me to teach you how to effectively catch steelhead, you have to be an open book. Like, you're not going to come out there and you can learn everything in a day. I will give my best to be able to teach you how to do it in a day, but you'll never learn, in one day how to just crush steelhead. You might get lucky. I've seen that before. And if you pay attention, you can become effective quick if you're, if you learn quickly as a human. Steelhead fishing is all about the drift, man. Every little thing you've learned about fishing the bottom with trout, just throw it out the window. Like, fishing the bottom or float fishing for trout, it's all vastly different. And there's guys that will argue with me over that. And I've caught so many fish in my life. I can tell you that connecting with a steelhead is nothing like connecting with a trout. And steelhead are quick, man. I mean, you got 1 second to make this decision if it's a fish or not. Like, will show me. There's things I will see just from doing it so much that you will never see that I know is a fish. Steelhead are mouthy. Like, if you're bait fishing for steelhead or bead fishing for steelhead, the steelhead's just basically, they'll take it in, roll it around, back out.
You don't even want to get into this part because I sat there the other night at his house and did this. Bead shit, fucking.
It's a whole different world,
Just
man.
going to put a chunk of corn on and chunk it out there and see what happens.
I don't even know if that's legal. Never done it, so.
Drink Budweiser, cast on out there and.
But that's why I wanted to ask, like, what
Mountain man antics.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
that's why I wanted to ask, like, what that experience is like if somebody's looking to book with you, because you hear all the horror stories of guides not asking those questions,
Right.
and not getting to know their client. And then you get an upset client, didn't have a good time.
See, I won't guarantee nobody fish. There's
Well,
some
you
guys
can't.
that'll tell you.
You can't
These are
guarantee
fish,
anybody.
man. These are fish.
Yeah, it's
you
not
understand? It's called fishing.
It's like a hunting guide. These guys that guarantee you something are the guys that are in high fences.
It's the only way.
If you're out on public land hunting or private land, can't guarantee anybody because I don't know how the hell you shoot.
Oh, so that's a good one.
I mean, look, I've taken people coyote hunting. Coyote comes in, they don't shoot.
Yeah.
I can't. What can I do? I can't pull the trigger for them.
They need to understand first and foremost that this is something that is completely legitimately out of my control.
Exactly.
But what they
There's a
can
good chance.
But what they can understand is you've given the best effort, getting the knowledge. Like, don't lie. Don't lie to the guide.
Don't tell me that you've been fishing, your whole life and like you. I had a client earlier in the run. It was he's a world renowned fly fisherman. Okay, I'm not a world renowned fly fisherman. Can I fly fish? Absolutely. Can I teach you pretty much every variation or different technique / style of fly fishing? Absolutely. Am I the best at it? Hell no. I am not a Team USA. I'm not a Team USA guy. I'm not a Euro nymphing freaking competitive blah, blah, blah. I'm not that guy. But I can teach you how to effectively drift and effectively nymph and effectively catch a fish. But if you come into the day telling me that you are a professional damn near, and you're basically just hiring me for my knowledge of where the fish are, and you can't roll cast, we have a problem. Because like right out of the gate, I'm like, what the hell's going on here, I learned how to roll cast a fly rod at like 12. So if you are a professional, you should have that one covered,
Yeah.
And that's the thing on my end. It becomes really frustrating. If you tell me the truth, you're going to have a better day. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I try to be the most exciting guide out there too. Like when we're out there, trust me when I tell you, I'm as excited. If you were to go with me tomorrow, I am as excited for you to hook and land a fish as I would be for myself to do it or the next guy down the freaking road. Or down the stream, I guess I should say. I'm that adamant, and I want everyone to enjoy this experience because if you can develop a personal connection with the outdoors, name me something that touches it. You two both have that connection with the outdoors. Name me one thing that touches that.
Just family.
Outside of family, nothing.
Yeah.
That's the answer. There's nothing on the planet if this is something you truly love doing. And you're not going to meet guys really that want to go steelhead fishing. Like, those guys are hunters. They're not like people that go out and recreational fish at a lake twice a year. Those people don't have an interest in it, or they would have done it already, The guys that stream fish and guys that would be interested in learning how to do that, and most of the time are people that are pretty much just like us. You definitely do run into some people that have come from a very different walk of life that maybe they're a CEO of a company. And I've learned how to work with those people, but that took me a while, because, I can have a conversation with you guys. This is easy doing a podcast with you two, because I know, you guys are my friends. I know you, I get you. Now, if I was sitting here with two, CEOs that do major business deals every day of the week, I probably wouldn't have much to say. So when I got to take people like that out, I have to understand they may not understand the same things I understand, or that comes second nature to me. So I've actually asked a couple clients this year, hey, was there anything I could have done better today to make this experience better for you? Nobody said anything. That frustrates me. I want you to, if I asked you that question, I want you to be honest with me and tell me, hey, you could have did this a little bit better. Thank you. Because I want to learn. That's back to the sponge thing I said. I can't learn. I asked you that, and what they didn't know was I was asking them that because I'd never worked with anybody like them in my life. I didn't know if the experience that I would give you two was like the experience that they were looking for. And like to be a pro at this and really be successful, I think in the long run, I have to know how to work with everybody. And I thought I was going to struggle earlier this year with women. I usually have women fish before I get the men fish. Like,
well, you talk, with Jordan Miller from Nocturnal Addiction Bow Fishing. He'll tell you the same exact thing.
He's guiding.
Yeah,
he's a guide.
Yeah, for bow fishing, and
women are the easier out of.
Yeah, because they go into it saying, "I've never done this before.
Completely
I'm going
open-minded.
to listen to you."
Yeah,
and
whereas
when
we jump on a boat or jump in the stream with you,
masculinity comes into it, right?
I know how to fish.
I know how to do this.
I know how to do this.
Then why am I here? What am I doing here?
Yeah,
and like that's not the way I'd present it to somebody, but that's what's going on in my mind. I'm like, what am I doing here if you got this figured out? I'll go down here and you can watch me for the next half hour smash fish and you're going to be like, what am I doing wrong? Just listen. That's the point, of you hiring a guide, I would say.
Now, when is, because I don't know a lot about Steelhead, when are the times of the year that are best to go?
Our fish in Pennsylvania and Erie, best time would be, you're going to start running into fish in September, depending on the weather. The first part of the run is super weather dependent. But like mid-November through now is the time to go. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you and tell you steelhead fishing is like the most glorious thing in the world. It's normally like 15 degrees. Everything's iced over. It's cold. It's hard on your body. Every time you touch a fish, it just makes you forget about it. And like you truly learn to appreciate like the warmer days where it's in the 40s and 50s. Like that's when you get to like kind of cut loose and have a little bit of fun where you're not kind of like, Randy from A Christmas Story out there and your waders trying to like turn back and forth. The different states and different parts of the Great Lakes have different runs. The Pacific Northwest, where steelhead are native to, have summer run fish out there in Washington and Oregon and that area. I think even California has summer run fish. I'm not going to lie to you. Don't know a whole lot about the fish on the West Coast, but they're what they call true steelhead. Our fish aren't really true because they don't go out into the ocean, is what those guys will tell you. Well, take a steelhead and put it in the Pacific Northwest from here. It's going to live. It's going to be just fine and do the same thing that those fish are doing. They are they're really unique fish too, and they imprint, which is awesome. Like all the smolts that were just stocked now, and that is one problem. Like right now, that's why I was kind of hesitant to say like now is a good time. If you're going up for your first time, I wouldn't say now is a good time. It's tough. It's the end of the run. You can catch fish into May, but it's really hard, and you kind of have to know where you're at. And I wouldn't want to take you, like maybe I would take right now because I'm pretty confident I could get us on fish and you wouldn't hold it against me. That's my biggest fear is like a client not catching fish and then being like, man, you ripped me off. I'm trying.
But I don't think you'll run into that issue just because of the honesty.
I had one person upset with me and I was as honest as I could have been with them. And that's fine. They won't book with me again. And I'm sure they, went out and talked their shit and that's fine. That's going to happen. I understand that. But like, if you go back to music, like, people just here talk shit on everything I do. And that's fine. You don't have to like me. I'm not here for everybody. I'm not everybody's guide. I will do my best 100%, 150% every time I take somebody out. I'm going to do my best. But right now, like I said, there's not a lot of fish and it's smolt city. So something you would not be able to relate to because you've trout fished and not steelhead fished. They stock the smolts, which is baby steelhead, this time of year. And, the tail end of last month, there was, I think, 80,000, 3CU, which is a great organization and hatchery in Erie. They do a lot for things up there. And I think they put like 60,000 smolts in just elk a couple weeks ago. It might have been more than that. And those smolts are like 7 inches, 8-inch fish. And they're what we call trout here. Their babies are what we call trout here. you can't get anything past the smolts. They're piranhas, man. Like they will eat anything and they don't care what it is. So going up there right now would be extremely hard if like you were to go by yourself to know that like you got to get down past the smolts. The only way to defeat the smolts is to go lower because the bigger fish will be lower. And most of the time, from my experience anyway, the bigger fish are usually in a different part of a pool than where the smolts are hanging out. Not saying the smolts won't come up to them, but I think they get just as aggravated as I do. Like I get aggravated with catching them, and I don't want to catch them because you can hurt them, and I don't want to hurt them. That's our future. Those fish you want them to make it out into the lake and go grow and do their thing and come back. But when they're put in a specific creek, they imprint there. They come back there for the rest of their life. How many fish do that,
I did not know that.
Trout ain't doing that.
No.
No, not for the most part. And I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know if the browns, like the lake run browns that they're, will be in with the steelhead. And like, I don't know if you've seen lake run browns. They're beautiful and they're usually pretty large fish. I don't know if they'll come back the same way or if they just kind of find their way back in. That's a good question that I don't have an answer to.
Well, if I can ever get a fish warden on here and get a biologist,
If you can do that, please invite me because I have questions for the biologists, like a lot of them.
If I can get a fish warden on here, I'll invite you because they just seem to not want to do their job. They don't want to educate the fishermen in Pennsylvania.
Well, not
if you're
me.
any fish warden listening, contact me.
I'd be curious if one would do that.
Holy sheep shit. It's time to go already?
It is, buddy. That hour goes quick.
Well, hey,
Especially when you got a good feller on like Randy Davis over there.
we can continue this at another time. And thanks for having me. Honestly,
Hey.
I love being able to sit down with you two. And when you're ready to go steelhead fishing, let's do it. And if anybody out there listening wants to do it, it's Spooled Guide Services, 724-689-2962. You can get a hold of me, or you can look me up on social media and find me. I'm going to be with these guys right next to them at the Chico Outdoor.
The Outdoor
Expo.
Expo. April 15th and 16th.
Yep. Be there with us.
I will be right next to you guys if everything works according to plan. And if it's something you're thinking about going out and learning how to catch steelhead and really having a freaking blast, just let me know, and I'll show you everything I can.
Yeah, I will agree with that. We've been friends now a while. Like I say, you put 100% into everything. So if you're interested in it, I can tell you he's going to put everything he can into it. You're going to want to check him out. You'll go have a great time, and he might let you use the Barbie pole.
So that's actually become a thing, man. It's it was a joke at first because somebody said I couldn't do it, and then like all of a sudden there was a ad on social media for a Barbie pole steelhead tournament. I'm like, now I'm interested. Now I'm taking this pole out. What a day.
Now, you want to know what we're talking about with the Barbie pole. You got to follow him on social media.
I have a YouTube channel too. It's on YouTube. I just started the YouTube channel. It has I think 9 subscribers. So I'm basically killing it on YouTube right now.
Hey, that stuff takes time.
It takes a lot of time.
Same name for the YouTube channel?
Yeah, Spooled. It's Spooled. I think maybe Spooled.tv is how I set it up. It's just look up Spooled. It's on there. And the easiest way to find me is on social media. Spooled Guide Services on Facebook and TikTok. And look up Andy Davis, and you can find me that way too.
Well, buddy, we got some bills to pay here.
Yeah.
You got your list pulled up.
No, not yet.
Are you looking at those pictures again?
I was looking at pictures, but they were motorcycle pictures.
Oh, I thought you were looking at the deer that come across.
Nah, they were motorcycles. Looking at that custom dude down in Kentucky
There you go.
building them nasty scooters. So we got Crick Archery. Find your passion and hunt it down. Give Chris a holler down there at Crick Archery. All them new bows are out for this year. You know, you're looking for traditional bows, modern day bows, crossbows. You want wooden arrows, carbon arrows, aluminum arrows. They got it all down there at Crick Archery. Find your passion and hunt it down.
And we got our good friends over at Hillview Motors, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. You're looking for new, used, certified pre-owned, stop in and see our buddy Steve Huba and the rest of the sales team there in the front. Need to have your vehicle serviced? Head back there, oil change, brakes, tires, you name it, they'll get it fixed up for you. If you've hit one of these unfortunate critters, now I would be shocked if anybody has ever hit a steelhead on the road.
Hey, if you leave one laying underneath the seat and it gets all stanky, go see Joe back in the detail department. He'll take care of it.
If you're hitting steelhead, don't call me. Okay?
But if you happen to hit any of the other critters that you might see on the road, go back and see Butch there in the Collision Center, certified to work on all makes and models. They'll get you back on the road. And remember, Hillview has it.
Hey, we just got something in the mail today. You know that.
I did. I saw the email. We got us a bunch of Duke traps.
We got us a bunch of Duke traps to give away up there at Chico Outdoors to some youngin' that wants to stick his finger in the trap and see how bad it hurts. I'll give you a whole dozen of dog proofs you stick your finger in there, feller.
I think I'm going to pass on that.
Give Bill Duke and them fellas down there a call at Duke Traps. They'll hook you up. www.duketraps.com.
And we got your buddy, Rob. Speaking of traps, he's got a trap in lore.
Dear P. Dave.
That's right, Dear P. Dave at Apparition Sense.
We just got some turkey calls in, too.
Yep, RD1 Outdoors.
That fella owns a couple companies.
He does, but if you're looking to... Turkey season's coming. You want to get yourself some Phantom Hunter from Apparition Sense? Keep those does from telling the turkeys where you are.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Dave can make me a fish call.
I'd be willing to bet Dave can make about anything.
Dave, we need a steelhead call. Get on it, son.
But you want to check out Apparition Sense and their full line of products. We use the Phantom Hunter religiously to keep us scent free when we hit the woods. And pine scent, cover scent, deer lures, dirt, Undertaker, Nightmare,
K911. That's the trapping lord.
And what does Dave say about Apparition Sense?
100% lethal.
And we talked a little bit about it a couple minutes ago, but April 15th and 16th, head on up to the Westmoreland Fairgrounds for the annual Outdoor Expo hosted by Chico Outdoors.
We're going to be there, and we're going to be getting rowdy up there, too. So, I'll come over and hang out.
Chico Outdoors is a nonprofit organization that works to the youth, getting them involved in the hunting, fishing, and the outdoors. It's in honor of Matt Christ's brother, Andrew Chico Christ. And we've got a great expo. You want to follow them on Facebook and Instagram for more information, and we hope to see you up there.
And there's a critter that we got to hunt down this year at Chico Outdoors.
They did get a mascot.
We're going to hunt him down.
There's a mascot?
Yes.
There is, and we might throw him in the Duke trap.
Yep. We're going to put a Duke trap out there and see if we can't catch him.
I was thinking about bringing a pool for fish. Maybe we'll just put him in there.
You know how, Rob, I figure we're going to catch him? We're going to have to set up some cameras.
Oh, definitely. I'm putting some Bow Creek outdoor cameras up the night before. We're definitely going to catch them on them cellular devices.
That's right. They work on...
Hey, they got a deal going on right now, too. The April Fool's deal. I don't know if you guys are going to hear this for April Fool's, but if that deal don't work, use our deal. TKE 20. Get you 20% off all their cameras.
Yep.
It's only good on cameras. It's not good on any of the other stuff. But check them out. Veteran-owned, operated. Matt, they run on what?
Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, so you can move the cell camera to any location and not have to worry about losing reception. They've also got the traditional cameras, the BC 52 and 48, high megapixel images, and I will tell you, they reach out there and take a photo.
Video with sound. So if you're into filming your hunts, one of those work perfect. Set it on. They got like a 3-minute set time for video with sound, and I'm telling you, they're freaking unbelievable cameras. I mean, you hear me and Matt talk about it all the time. We're swooping through here, the whole thing, looking at deer pictures. There was a picture that popped up here about 20 minutes ago. I had to actually zoom the picture in to see the deer standing out there in the field. That's how far away it was, and took a picture of this freaking deer.
Wow.
They're unbelievable cameras.
So you were doing that in between looking at motorcycles.
Yeah.
You was probably on Z&M Harley Davidson.
I was trying to find our little buddy Halderman. new scooter.
I've had to stay out of there for years. You know that? They always cost me so much money.
Yeah, every time I go up
need
to Z&M,
everything.
I spend money.
And they're great people. That's the problem.
Yes, they
You're
are.
like, I want to buy things from you.
That is. And you want to go up there, you're looking for another new used motorcycle, go up there and see Kelton, Ryan, Joe, any of the great salesmen up there. Rob and I tend to make more trips to the parts department right now just because we're adding accessories on our motorcycles that we picked up from Z&M. Mm-hmm. I actually just got mine back. You want to talk about service? I took mine up there for the 1,000-mile service, dropped it off on Monday. They called me Tuesday afternoon. And
Yeah.
I get no special treatment.
I can speak on that too because they're quick and they've done a lot of work for me too. And great people at Z&M.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're going to want to follow them on Facebook. Check out their website. There's a bunch of great things coming. We aren't releasing what they are yet. But I can tell you, we got some big things coming up this summer. They've got some great events. Go up, get your Reason to Ride badge. Head out there, hit some local restaurants. Put the miles on.
Just watch out for that Dax guy. You gotta watch out for him.
And if you like this outdoor content, fishing, motorcycles, you gotta stay with us. If you like the fishing, the hunting, you want to listen to it 24/7, Rob, where can they go?
The Outdoor Call Radio, run by our good buddy Outdoors Dan. Radio on the internet. It is 24/7, 365 days a year. Outdoor content.
That is.
It is a bunch of different podcasts about hunting, fishing, cooking. Dan's into that looking for Bigfoot crap, and he got a couple live shows that he does on there. You know,
Download that, check it out. While you're on your mobile device, follow along with us on Facebook, Instagram. YouTube's going to have some new hunts and content coming out too. We just got a new podcast put out this week on there. So check it out. We'll catch you on the next one.